I sat under the Bodhi tree, the air filled with quiet anticipation and the scent of blooming flowers. The Buddha approached, his saffron robes flowing lightly with the evening breeze, radiating a serene presence that stilled the restless minds around him. "Why do you seek me today?" he asked, his voice a gentle yet firm cascade, breaking the silence delicately. "Master, I have climbed the steepest paths of ambition, gathered the rarest treasures, yet I feel hollow," I confessed. The Buddha nodded as though he had already known this long-buried ache residing in my restless soul. "Imagine a lotus pond," he began, his gaze resting on the horizon as though searching its edges for some eternal truth. "A man enters, desperate to drink, but drinks only the reflection instead of the water," he explained softly. I listened intently, my own reflection rippling faintly in the ponds of my memories and discontent. "The man grows thirsty still, unable to distinguish his image from the substance beneath," he continued in measured cadence. He turned his attention to the garden around us, gesturing to the clouds gathering their transience above. "Success is this reflection, enticing to the weary traveler but neither nourishing nor quenching," he elaborated, pausing meaningfully. "But, Master, does striving mean only this futility?" I asked, my voice trembling with doubt and hope. Yet, in his neglect, the stream's clear water flows unnoticed before him. Ananda listened, his brow furrowing with curiosity, his mind drawn to the imagery Buddha painted. I grew silent, struggling to reconcile the yearning within my heart with the wisdom unraveling before me. An individual wins treasures only to trap himself in cages crafted from achievement and governed by desire, he spoke. He bent down and traced an invisible arc on the soft earth, a pattern that seemed to mirror the heavens. "Does not the fisherman, believing his net will bring abundance, often find himself entangled instead?" he asked. "Your accomplishments have encased your spirit, disconnected it from the infinite yet hidden unity surrounding it," he continued, the weight of his words pressed against my chest like a heavy, unseen hand driving out shallow truths. "Master," I whispered, "what shall I do with my yearning, my ambition that propels me ceaselessly forward?" The Buddha rested his hand on the great Bodhi tree, his voice lowered, calm yet resonant. "First, recognize the mirage for what it is. The emptiness is not in the water but in the seeking," he said. He invited me to sit in the shadow of the ancient tree, where the ground felt cool and forgiving. I obeyed, finding myself soothed by an inexplicable assurance emanating from the roots that cradled us both. "Close your eyes and see the empty space within as a vast room waiting to be illuminated," he instructed. His guidance pulled me inward, compelling me to delve beyond the curtain of illusions shaped by my desires. "Refrain from pouring ambition endlessly, like water in a broken jar, and instead mend the jar first," he advised. The image of a broken jar flashed through my mind, its cracks resembling fissures spreading through my understanding. "Look deeply within. Ask not what the world owes your success but what stillness owes your understanding," he added. My breathing slowed, thoughts cascading with less ferocity, replaced by a budding calm still foreign to me. "You wear masks sculpted by achievements, but behind each lies the tender, naked self yearning to simply exist," he said. "What do I hold behind these masks, Master?" I asked, unsure of what my voice revealed to even myself. The Buddha took a handful of soil from beneath him, allowing it to sift slowly through his fingers. "Within this soil lie the seeds of nourishment. Understand your emptiness as fertile ground, not as barren desert," he explained. I pondered this revelation, feeling the weight of possibility stir within what had seemed lifeless moments before. Each achievement, pursued without reflection, is but a single seed cast carelessly on rocks. "Know the soil first," he said. I found my voice again, trembling yet determined to ask the question circling my thoughts. How do I nourish this soil? Master, when my hands grow weary and my mind falters, I inquired. The Buddha gazed at me with infinite patience, his presence assuring the question was more important than its answer. He cupped his hands together, as if holding something invisible yet significant in their humble curvature. Care for your inner soil by cultivating generosity, wisdom, and the joy of interconnectedness. These nourish far deeper than desires ever could, he revealed. I felt tears dampen my cheek. Not of sorrow but of an emotion far too vast to reduce to words. Recognize, then, that every growth that follows is not of singular roots but part of the ecosystem of being, he continued. My heart began to loosen its rigidity, as though it had shifted and now moved with less resistance. The feeling of emptiness dissolves not when filled but when understood, cherished, and transformed, he finished gently. The sun had begun its descent, casting warm hues across the earth that now felt far softer beneath me. The Buddha rose, gesturing for me to join him in walking among the budding wildflowers near the forest's edge. Let us walk, he said, and remember that the path is as sacred as the destination. If walked consciously. I rose, my heart lighter, my mind reflecting back not the mirage, but the slowly clearing water beneath. Another day unfolded gently, sunlight streaming through the forest leaves, painting the ground with fragmented patterns of warmth and light. The Buddha sat by the riverbank, his eyes resting calmly on the flowing water as disciples gathered slowly beside him. A young craftsman approached, his hands calloused from labor, his spirit weary from ambition's relentless pull and pursuit. Master, I work tirelessly, yet the more I achieve, the more my yearning deepens. Success feels fleeting, he confessed. The Buddha turned toward him, his gaze serene, his presence unwavering amidst the undercurrent of human sorrow surrounding him. Observe this river, the Buddha began, his voice soft yet firm, carrying wisdom like ripples expanding through still water. It flows ceaselessly, carving mountains and valleys, yet always chasing horizons. It never rests, never finds contentment within itself. Ananda, at the front of the group, turned briefly to look at Buddha, his face serene, his mind clearer than ever before, through mindful awareness and the anchoring of presence. The disciples began to perceive time not as fleeting but as steady. The Buddha leaned forward, scooping up pebbles with his hand, scattering them into the water with deliberate precision. Each pebble creates ripples, distorting reflections and clouding clarity. Accomplishments birth desires, creating cycles that disturb inner stillness. The craftsman stared into the water, where ripples mirrored the restless turmoil he carried within his heart each day. Master, must desires always lead to suffering? Is it impossible to strive without tethering oneself to endless longing? He asked. The Buddha allowed silence to settle briefly, the gentle hum of insects filling the space between question and answer. It is not striving itself but the attachment to its outcomes that feeds the chain of desires, he explained. He gazed deeply into the flowing current, his words resonating with clarity like sunlight piercing through dense forest canopy. When desires cloud the mind, we lose sight of our true selves, our reflection distorted by ripples of yearning. The craftsman bent down beside him, his hands brushing the earth, his thoughts heavy with newfound understanding and sorrow. What lies beyond these ripples? Master, how can one end the chain that binds the heart? He inquired tentatively. The Buddha dipped his hand into the river, holding droplets that sparkled briefly before flowing back into the stream. The answer lies within stillness, in cultivating presence. It is in this stillness that the true self is revealed. He gestured to the river, its surface gradually calming, revealing reflections that had been hidden beneath turbulence and motion. "Do you see your reflection now?" the Buddha asked, his tone steady, his gaze unwavering as he guided the disciple. The craftsman nodded, gazing at the mirrored image that now appeared clearly amidst the softened ripples of tranquility. "Stillness reveals clarity. It shows that what you seek resides not in possessions but within your own being," he said. The disciple sighed, his shoulders relaxing as the weight of misunderstanding began to lift slowly with the Buddha's wisdom. "I have sought beyond myself, believing fulfillment lay in distant achievements. I see now how mistaken I have been." The Buddha reached for another pebble, holding it between his fingers before placing it gently back onto the earth. "Understand this. Desire breeds suffering when we mistake its pursuit for purpose, ignoring the quiet truth already within us. Time management is not a relentless race. It is harmony." Rahula's thoughts began to shift, his mind absorbing the deeper meaning behind Buddha's words. The Buddha smiled faintly, his expression warm yet firm, as though grounding his disciples' wavering doubts in wisdom's foundation. "Practice mindfulness. Both must coexist harmoniously." The wind gently rustled the leaves above, as if nature itself affirmed the truth Buddha conveyed to his listeners. "Your achievements are ripples. Each adds to the stream. Yet it is the stillness between that holds life's essence." Buddha gestured toward the horizon, his movements deliberate yet graceful. "Balance allows the boat to move smoothly. See them as guides leading you back to stillness." His voice lingered in the air, resonating softly, shaping the hearts around him like the river shapes the stones it meets. Rahula bowed his head slightly, his face reflecting the humility of a learner. "Master, how can we practice this balance in our daily lives?" Buddha turned to the group, his gaze encompassing each disciple with equal care. Another day dawned, golden light stretching across the fields, where wildflowers swayed gently in harmony with the morning breeze. The Buddha stood in the center, his presence radiant as sunlight graced his robe, inviting peace to those around him. A young woman, Sujata, approached with timid steps, her voice trembling as she began to speak her heart's heavy burden. "Master, I have achieved my dreams. Yet loneliness grips me. Success feels like a vast, uninhabited island," she confessed. The Buddha knelt beside a blooming flower, its petals bright and alive, yet firmly rooted in the earth below. "Sujata, do you see this flower? It thrives not alone but through the soil, sun, and rain sustaining it." Her gaze softened, yet sorrow lingered, as she studied the flower's beauty against the backdrop of its interconnected existence. Success isolates us when we forget that our lives intertwine with others, creating the tapestry of existence, the Buddha explained. The disciples gathered closer, their hearts eager for clarity, their thoughts swimming in the depth of the Buddha's teachings. He gestured toward the field, where flowers swayed as one, harmonious in their dance with the rhythm of the wind. Just as these flowers share soil and sky, true fulfillment emerges through connection, not separation, the Buddha continued. Sujata lowered her head, tears glistening in her eyes as uncertainty mixed with the dawning realization of her misplaced pursuits. "Master, how can I overcome this isolation? How do I find my place within this tapestry of life?" she asked. The Buddha touched her hand gently, his gaze imbued with kindness that carried the weight and wisdom of ancient truths. "Begin by giving what you have sought for yourself: love, compassion, and shared understanding. These heal the void within." Sujata's heart seemed lighter, as though the Buddha's words began unraveling the chains of isolation binding her inner world. Fulfillment deepens through interconnection. It flourishes when we embrace that our lives are threads woven into a shared existence. The Buddha stood, guiding Sujata to the edge of the field, where bees hummed and flowers danced vibrantly in unity. Notice how each flower is unique yet stands alongside others, contributing to beauty through its relationship to the whole. Sujata knelt, touching a flower lightly, her fingers trembling as understanding rooted itself deeply in her being. Your achievements reflect only one side of your existence. It is through connection that life gains depth and meaning. The disciples watched silently, their hearts stirred by the unfolding dialogue, their minds reshaped by each word the Buddha spoke. Master, how do I begin the journey back toward connection? I fear the isolation has hardened my spirit, Sujata admitted. The Buddha's expression grew solemn, yet warm, his words measured as though carrying her fears gently toward resolution. Start with simple acts. Share kindness. Seek understanding. Offer compassion. And recognize that life's richness lies within shared experiences. He stepped forward, kneeling beside her, his hand hovering gently above the soil as though feeling its quiet vibrations. This soil nourishes life, reminding us that separation is an illusion. True fulfillment grows where unity and interdependence dwell. Sujata's tears fell onto the earth, mingling with the soil, as her heart opened, releasing sorrow and welcoming understanding. I see now, Master, that my loneliness was born from forgetting the shared nature of all existence, she reflected. The Buddha smiled softly, his presence radiant and reassuring, carrying the promise of possibility and the wisdom of simplicity. Fulfillment grows through giving, through seeing ourselves mirrored in others, and through recognizing the vast unity within life's diversity. The disciples stood, moved by his teachings, inspired to approach their own challenges with renewed clarity and compassion for others. The Buddha gestured toward the horizon, where the sun's golden rays stretched infinitely, touching every corner of the earth. Let us walk together now, embracing life's beauty as we tread paths that connect us to one another and ourselves. Sujata rose, following his lead, her heart swelling with hope, her mind clearer than the sky above the blooming fields. Buddha smiled softly, his approval evident in the warmth of his expression. Indeed. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.